Sure. I'm 22 now. I know a lot of people don't like to celebrate their birthdays. Um, I do. I appreciate the fact that I'm still around. And I like to view my birthdays as my personal New Year's. I know a lot of people don't like New Year's either. I like fresh starts even if they are social constructs due to our calendar. Like, I don't know. It's an excuse to try new things. And if nothing else, I am a lover of trying new things. Anyway, so for age 22, I've been thinking, every year around my birthday, I think a lot about life, as I think a lot of people do. My thoughts tend to go towards who do I want to be in the next year? I might be wrong, but at least to me right now, I think this is the first year, this is the first birthday that I don't want to drastically change who I am within the next year. I finally feel at home with who I am and where I'm at, which is a very nice feeling. Do recommend it. But it feels disappointing to say I don't want to change at all. Like, that's not true. I definitely have things that I want to be better at, you know? But it's the first year that I don't want to change so much that I don't recognize my current self. Of course, I probably will change so much I won't recognize my current self. That's just how life is. That's how life works. That's how growing up works. But I want to focus on small changes this next year. And I've done a lot of journaling last night and today. I thought about how a lot of like small changes, a lot of goals for making small changes are based on do X every day. Like, do this thing every day. And that's very much not realistic for me. I have such an ever changing schedule and workload with being a college student, and honestly, just energy levels. Like, I'm not gonna have energy to do stuff every single day. That's just a fact. And I'm embracing that. I'm learning how to embrace the ebbs and flows of moods and opinions and energy and just going with it. Because pushing against that is only going to cause discomfort, unnecessary discomfort, and like distress and frustration towards myself. And that's no way to live. So I want to make small changes, but I don't want to force a schedule for that. Because we're not meant to live like that. We're meant to live just based on how we feel. We're not meant to schedule our self-growth. Obviously, you can do things to like improve your self-growth. Like, you can, try to work out 3 times a week. You can make sure you include your hobby in your weekly activities. But scheduling something for every single day doesn't feel right to me. At least not anymore. I used to think that was the way to do things. It's definitely not the case for me now. All of these small, this whole idea about small changes and really all of my past goals of like, I've always wanted to do big drastic changes, change my life in a year. But all of that and the small changes I want to make of just like small improvements of my life, all of it leads to just living intentionally. I've always struggled with the feeling that I live passively. I just go with what other people want to do. I don't really make plans for myself. I just do things because it's routine. but I want to live more intentionally. I think that is kind of the point. To my newly 22-year-old self, to me, the purpose of life in general is to just live intentionally and experience. Just experience. It's a lot easier to experience life when you're an active participant. And I feel like I've always struggled with that. So I'm not going to just schedule any goals. I'm not going to make a checklist of things I want to do before I'm 23. That is against everything I've just said. But I want to live intentionally. I've said that multiple times already, but I think the best way for me to do that without scheduling things out is to document. To document it and maybe share it. It's not a necessary step, but to me, right now in my life, it feels right. I said earlier that I think, like, at least right now, the purpose of life is just to experience it. I think that's different than whatever your personal purpose is. My purpose, I feel, is to create. And creation is a lot more fun when you can share it with other people. I wonder if this makes any sense to others. I'm hoping that it's coming across clear. I think this year will be a little bit of an experiment of how life can be. Obviously, we live this every day. Like, this is not anything special. Experimenting and seeing how life can be is something people do every single day. It's not special. But purposely thinking about it, documenting it, is what's making it special and important for me. What can my life look like? And I'm not meaning this in I'm going to be productive every single day hustle culture. Absolutely not. Basically the opposite, actually. I want to see what life will look like if I actively choose to do the things that I want to do and not just do things out of routine. I want to unprogram myself from what I've learned and reprogram the parts that I actually want to keep. I want to reprogram myself and see what happens. I want to question everything I do as a routine and not necessarily try to optimize it, because that is a little bit of a crude way to looking at the human experience. But I want to consider the why behind my actions that I take every day and think about how to best do things for myself. If that makes sense. I really hope it makes sense. I guess the question now is, what do I start with? I'm not making a checklist of things to do. That's kind of against the point. But I need to start somewhere. What part of my life do I feel the need to change, and why? I guess before I even start considering that, I need to understand where I'm at before I can know where I can go. And like, I've been journaling a lot lately, but that doesn't mean that I've pinned down what I would change. My journaling is a way to get my emotions and thoughts out, not necessarily to pick out problems to solve. And I guess my ideal self would just be more conscious about how I spend my time and what I do. And my ideal self would document my life a bit more, which, hey, I'm already getting there, which is exciting. I guess the next little while, I'm going to think consciously about how I live my life. And I'll start writing things down of what I do, how it makes me feel, what parts of my life I look forward to and enjoy the most, and why that is. and start to make connections on how I can bring those things into the I have to do it, but I don't really want to things, like doing the dishes. And of course, like schoolwork, but dishes. I'm just gonna look at my life from an outside perspective and see what could change and what I would like to change and start slow. It's okay to start slow because it's still starting. I don't know. I feel like everything I've been saying is just how people live. But I think the intention I have behind living this way is what's making it important. That's really all it comes down to is intention. And not doing things just because that's how things are. I love challenging the status quo, so I might as well do it for my own life. As I've already said, I'm not going to put a schedule on this, but I am going to at least try to document it a little bit. So, yeah. Here's to not living passively and challenging the way things are for what they could be.